when we're on the boat and we're fishing, it just feels like that you're the only two in the universe. It is so peaceful. The water is so calm. And it's like the beauty of nature and just watching nature. I just think that, all of the things that God has created, and to really look at that and say, this is amazing. I mean, the hundreds and hundreds of miles of water that we have here and how everything is so different. I mean, you think you would get tired of that.
Welcome to the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast, inspiring real women with a passion for fishing and the outdoors to go get their adventure on. Now, here's your fearless host, Angie Scott.
Hey, welcome to this week's episode of the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast. I'm super stoked about this one. As many of you know, I worked in the music industry in Nashville for quite some time before taking the plunge to focus on fishing and boating full time. And I worked for a booking agency. One of the super talented artists that we represented there for many years was all-American bluegrass girl Rhonda Vincent. I became a pretty die-hard bluegrass fan when I moonlighted as a hostess at the Grand Ole Opry for a few years. So whenever I had the opportunity to go see Rhonda perform, I jumped on it. I remember her agent booked her to perform a benefit concert one time down in his hometown of Alabama for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society, and I went down to help collect tickets at the door. And Rhonda had just designed her brand new tour bus, and we got to go on board after the show, and she showed us some of the cool features that she picked out, and it was super fun. Another time I met up with Rhonda at a bluegrass festival in South Pittsburgh, Tennessee, which is home to the very first Lodge factory store. That's the famous cast iron cookware company. But one of my all-time favorite memories was playing this online typing game against Rhonda. I could never beat her. Not only was she a fast typer, but she was super accurate, and that was always my downfall. I always had too many typos. I don't know if you remember this or not, but back in the day, we used to compete against each other on some sort of typing game. I think it was like, do you remember that? Was it on Facebook or something?
I do remember that. That's how I basically inspired my girls to learn to type, trying to get them to perfect their skills. So we started that typing game with the girls. So then it was so much fun.
I thought I was a great typer, but I could not beat you. I think it's you have the edge with those mandolin fingers, I think.
Oh, is that what makes it easier?
I don't know. That's what man, she's fast.
That was fun. Those are always fun.
Anyway, since many of us have been staying at home during the COVID-19 pandemic, I've been seeing Rhonda's Facebook Lives popping up from time to time on my newsfeed, so I've been checking them out. Much to my delight, she's been getting out fishing quite a bit with her husband Herb, and the videos have been super fun to watch. One in particular went pretty viral, so I decided to bring her on the show to talk about her recent fishing adventures on Lake of the Ozarks, and I think you're really going to enjoy our conversation, so here we go. Rhonda Vincent, 7-time Grammy nominee, including a Grammy for Best Bluegrass Album 2017. Most recent Grand Ole Opry invitee. Did you ever think you'd be doing an interview on the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast?
I did not. This is, I guess, new territory and very exciting though. I love it. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, first of all, congratulations on the Opry invite. I mean, that's such a huge, huge honor. And I know you've been playing the Opry for a really long time. So, that has to feel just absolutely amazing.
I am so excited. That was on February 28th on 2020. That was my 215th appearance on the Opry. I had pretty much became peaceful about probably never being a member of the Opry. So it was really shocking and surprising, and absolutely, I was dumbfounded. It's like, are you serious? When Jeannie asked, she said, would you like to be a member of the Opry? I wasn't sure my ears were computing exactly what she said, because I thought, you know what, this is something that's never going to happen for me. I'm just thrilled that we get to play it. So anyway, I'm very excited. And then it's going to be even an added excitement because of the induction night was postponed. And so when it happens, I don't care if it's 3 years from now, whenever it is, it's going to be a great, great celebration.
Oh, for sure. I hope I get to go. That would be awesome to be there for that. Now,
I hope you are.
Have you gotten your membership card in the mail yet? Or is that still...
You know what? I haven't. Well, I'm in lockdown in Missouri, so I haven't even gotten to go to Nashville. They had said they were going to mail they said it's okay. I got a nice message from the Opry that said, not to worry, we're going to have to postpone this, but not to worry, you're going to get your membership card in the mail. It's like, okay. And now I can't even go down to see if it's there.
Oh. Well, hopefully soon. Hopefully it's waiting on you. And, you're the second, well, we'll just say you're an Opry member because you would be by now if all this wasn't going on. But, we had Terry Clark on the show, and she's the only female Canadian Opry member from what I understand. So it's kind of cool. We've had Terry on the show, and now we've got the newest on the show. So,
nice.
Cool. But yeah, Terry's big into fishing up in Canada, and I guess she does a little bit here and there when she can, in other spots. So I've been having such a good time watching your Facebook Lives when you've been going out with Herb, and I know you guys live on Lake of the Ozarks now, right?
That's right. We moved in September of 2019. Greatest thing we've ever done. It's so awesome here.
I agree. And it's funny, a lot of people have been getting to see that part of the country now through that show on Netflix, Ozark. I don't know if you've ever watched any of that crazy, crazy show.
I have not seen it, but every time I tell someone I moved to the Lake of the Ozarks, they go, "Oh, have you seen that show? Are you living there?" We're literally just around the corner from, there's a huge church with a big cross. And I think it's where they got that, as I hear from the show that's in the show, that's what they patterned that after.
Oh, wow.
And so when we go by there, I always think of that. So I have to watch that. I don't think our lifestyle is the same as what I hear the show is, though. I think it's a little different here. We've been eating and fishing. That's pretty much our life these days. I love that we can go down and catch a fish and that it's fresh. And some people have asked, do you really eat the fish? And it's like, yes, we eat the fish. And now my husband, he's calling himself the godfather of fishing because he is trading these ladies for desserts for fish. So we're on a constant quest. He has Missy, who he went to school with. She's right across the lake, and she says she can't catch a fish. So Herb catches a fish, and she baked him a carrot cake, his favorite cake. And then another lady said, well, they fixed him a peach cobbler and strawberry shortcake. So he is in the fishing trading dessert business now.
Okay, well, I'm starting to see a little bit of a parallel there between that and that show on Netflix, Ozark.
Are we falling into that? Oh my goodness!
I think you might be. You better be careful. That's all I gotta say.
I'm gonna have to watch him.
Anyway, so what caught my attention is one of your Facebook Live videos got like over 5 million views, and it was the talking catfish video. I mean, what in the world? What do you think about all that?
Well, it was bizarre because I usually try to put a title when I'm getting ready to do a Facebook Live, and I set it up, and on this moment, Herb said, I think I've got a big fish on. And I said, so I just kicked on the Facebook Live. And it was that catfish. Now, he had caught a 22-pounder the week before, but I wasn't with him. He brought it home, and I did a Facebook Live with that too. But this one, he brought that fish up, and he said he still thinks it's bigger than 11 pounds. He thinks the scales that I messed up the scales. Anyway, we went back and forth as you saw that. But anyway, I just turned his Facebook Live on. And then that he has a fish there. I had never really heard it talking like that before, but it was as if she was talking to me. And I didn't know if it was, I don't know he from her at that point.
Right.
And that's what I loved. If you look at the comment, I don't know, there's thousands and thousands of comments.
Yeah,
some aren't so nice, depending on what side you're looking at. Some are like, I would never take her fishing with me again. She talks too much. But it's a Facebook Live. It's all in fun for us.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
but not for them. Anyway, little did I know, all of a sudden my Facebook reaches for the week, it was 2 million, then it was 3 million, and now my Facebook reach is up to 11 million because of, I think that the Talking Catfish, which got right now is at 5.5 million,
Wow.
I think, with a 8 million reach on it. So it's bizarre. But Herb, you know what Herb says?
What?
Everyone likes a fishing video.
Oh yeah. Well, so what was the catfish saying? Do we know?
You know what? We're going to have to get an interpreter for that. I think it was like, help me.
Yeah, put me back in the water.
And then see, and so, because we fish for crappie.
Mm-hmm.
We fish for crappie. He doesn't keep them usually. And then people are so worried because evidently when he threw her back, she hit the side of the boat. And so said that's so inhumane. It's just, I love all the different comments from she talks too much to, oh my gosh, you're going to hurt that fish, to
Yeah.
just all of the different angles. And then I had the girl who works for me, my assistant, she said, I wanted to adopt the fish. Well, she didn't watch it all the way through. It's like, he threw it back. It's okay.
Yeah, it's funny when something gets that much exposure, you get the whole gamut of comments. I mean,
yes. Oh, yeah.
I even saw people, saying like, "Oh, he's a jerk" or whatever,
Oh yeah. He was aggravated at me because I was just goofing around trying to get the net over there, and it's like, oh yeah. They were like, he is a jerk. I got so many messages from people that's like, how do you live with him?
That's so funny. Well,
oh yes. It's like, we've been married for 36 years now, going on 37. So.
Yep. So yeah, well, I guess I enjoyed it a lot. It kind of reminds me of when my mom and dad go out fishing and how they interact with each other is very, very similar. So I totally.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So you totally understand.
Totally understand. So do you get to do much fishing normally, or is this mostly, because of the whole quarantine thing that you're able to take advantage of getting out there and doing that?
Well, I mean, we've had this place at the lake now, I guess, for almost 3 years. So, when I can, we'd come down for a couple of weeks or a few days and we would fish, but never to this degree. I mean, he loves to fish mostly in the spring and in the fall. That's the kind of fishing he loves to do. Mm-hmm. In the summer, there's so many boats, it's hot. So then he goes golfing. Mm-hmm. So he has his times, but right now I just happen to be here at the perfect fishing season, and we've just made it he's like, hey, you want to go fishing? We've only been living on the lake for a while. He literally fished through December and January, even in the coldest days. I think it's that newness of being at the lake. Like, I'm going to fish every day. I don't care if it's snowing or what it's doing. Mm-hmm. He calls me more of a fair weather fisherman. It's like, okay, how's the wind? I'm learning about all these different things about, how many boats are on the water. Is the wind blowing? So I'm really learning a lot that I had never experienced before. I've never lived on a lake, and all of these things that you watch. I actually ran the trolling motor the other day. The wind was so heavy, and I'm like, why don't we do this? He goes, you know what? It's time that you learned how to run the trolling motor, and it's time that running the boat. So I'm from a layman now learning. He has done this all of his life. So it's so exciting for me and this is a wonderful thing that we get to do together. So it's great for our marriage. Yeah.
Oh, well, I love that you're getting out there, and I've seen some videos where you've been out there and it's been pretty, adverse conditions. So.
Yeah. That's when I say, take me back to the house. Yeah. Can we make it back before the tornado rolls in?
Right. Well, that's cool. I love that you're taking the opportunity to experience this and learn some new things and run in the front of the boat. There's some wives out there that would never do that. I don't think my mom would ever do that. So
really?
Love it.
I just got my learner's permit to drive the bus for my CDL.
Oh, wow.
So now I just have to pass the driving. I said, if I can drive a 45-foot bus, I can surely drive this boat. And he goes, listen, and then he is very protective. He said, you will never drive my boat. I said, yeah, I might want to tootle over. His parents live a mile straight across from us. I said, I might want to go over and see your parents. He goes, you will never drive this. He said, you don't know where the brakes are.
Well, there are no brakes on a boat, that's for sure. But
right, yeah. Well, he doesn't give me as much credit as I'm learning this. So my goal is to be able to, if I want to go out and go fishing, I'll take off. Like this morning, he's golfing. Why couldn't I go out and go fishing?
Yeah, yeah. Well, how's the fishing off the dock where you're at? Is that pretty good?
You know what? We don't really, I think it's mostly catfish from around here,
okay.
and that's not something that we usually get.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when his dad used to stay here before they moved down, I mean, he would fish around here, and he's caught some really, really good catfish. I think he caught a 30-pounder last year here.
Wow.
So the catfish are around here,
mm-hmm.
and I'm not sure but you know what? There are fishermen around here all the time. They're always fishing this. I'll have to pay more attention to see if they're actually catching anything, if we've got something here.
Yeah. So what do you think you love most about it?
You know what? I love the serenity. When we're on the boat and we're fishing, and it just feels like that you're the only two in the universe. It is so peaceful. Now, I'm sure as the summer progresses, it's not going to be that way. But right now, the water is so calm, and it's like the beauty of nature and just watching nature. I just think that, all of the things that God has created, there's never more just being able to enjoy that and to really look at that and say, this is amazing. I mean, the hundreds and hundreds of miles of water that we have here, and how everything is so different. I mean, you think you would get tired of that. Mm. But it seems like did you grow up on a lake?
I didn't. I grew up in Minnesota. And we grew up in the country, but we had a boat. And so we would go out fishing. And when we would go, it would be like all day because, to go through loading up the boat, launching it, all that, you're going to be out there for as long as possible. And so we would be out until, after the sun went down. And that was my favorite time, was being out there. The water's so calm. Everything's, like orange and red, and the sunset reflecting off the water is just, it didn't matter if we're catching fish or not. Usually we weren't. It was just so peaceful just to be out there. So
yeah, it's that experience. And I'm like, as I'm sitting here, I'm sitting right on the water, and we have a swing that's right on the water. And so I'm out here, and just this morning, just enjoying the sunshine, enjoying how peaceful the water is. There's just something about it. I think everyone should get to experience that.
Yep. I remember the first night I closed on my houseboat, and I came out here and I sat up on the top deck and just looked across the water, and I've never felt so much peace. And I was like, okay, I did the right thing,
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, the same thing coming out here. It's like, because I didn't know. You don't know you're going to live on the water. The houses, because we're used to having more of an acreage, mm-hmm. and here, if you come to the Lake of the Ozarks, people don't really realize. They say you live right on the water, because I think most of the lakes in Tennessee, you can't build right on the water.
Right.
So I guess Old Hickory you can, but so many of them are Corps of Engineers. Mm-hmm. So they're not living on there, but this is something very, very special, and getting to live right on the water. I highly, highly recommend it. And now I'll have to experience it, I guess, even going further, living in a houseboat. Now, our guests, and I know, Jeannie Pruitt has a houseboat over near Smithville.
Okay, like
and
Center
some
Hill?
friends. Yeah, Center Hill, that's mm-hmm. it. And she has friends. Well, they used to live there quite a bit, she and Eddie. And she had like the corner, the very end. And she told me one day she woke up and something was blocking her view, a 4-story houseboat.
Oh.
And
wow.
She was very upset. Anyway, long story short, they befriended her, they're dear friends, and they still have their houseboat over there. I have yet to get to visit at some point, but that is a whole different experience. A 4-story houseboat. I want to see that. And the reason they ended up there is because they knew they wanted to build this boat, but it's the only one of the few lakes in the United States that would actually allow them to have it there.
Wow. Well, that's cool. I need to go out there and take a look at that sometime.
Yes.
Well, okay, so I think one thing, now that we're talking about this, all our listeners are going to be going over to your Facebook page and watching some of these videos. And I know one question people are going to ask: does singing to the fish help catch them? Does singing while you're fishing help?
Well, I've tried that, and Herb will tell you he thinks you should always be very, very quiet. But what he'll say, you got to be quiet, but then we'll go by a dock. Here's what he does. And there'll be somebody fishing there. And the next thing you know, he's like, hey, Rhonda, sing him a song. So watch how she sings to the fish. So I think that's just a kick that he gets. But I'll have to continue to do that and see if they're listening.
Yeah. We'll need to do a study on that and see if it works or not. So.
Absolutely.
Well, you're talking about, one of the things you were talking about in one of the videos is maybe, with this time that we have is doing some sort of mandolin webinar. Is that something you're probably going to go forward with?
I am. I will be doing that probably in about a week. I'm working out all of the details on exactly how to do that. I'm not real savvy on the webinars. In fact, I've never hosted a webinar myself. So I am getting all of the details. People are always asking me about mandolin lessons or, hey, will you show me this? And I thought, you know what? This is a way to reach out to so many all at once. Mm-hmm. And so I'm getting ready to host that. And then I've been talking to my guys to take it even further during this time. Who doesn't want to get a lesson from Hunter Berry on the fiddle?
Right.
So I believe that my guys will, once I try the very first one, and learn how it works, we'll be doing a few more of those. So
yeah,
very exciting.
That'd be awesome. One thing that we have in common, I think we have the same bluegrass hero, and that's Bobby Osborne. And
oh yes,
yeah, I got big into the Osborne brothers when I worked at the Opry for a few years, and it was right. Sonny was still performing with them, but he wasn't playing anymore because of his surgery. So
oh yes,
I did get to see Sonny. I never got to see him perform live. Actually playing the banjo, but I got into learning a little bit of mandolin there for a while, so I might have to check out that webinar and kind of brush up on it.
There you go. Get your mandolin out.
Yeah.
That'd be great. You can go to RhondaVincent.com. I'll have details there. And I just posted on my message board because, there are so many fake accounts here and people are posing as me and asking people for money and telling them I'm getting a divorce and all those things. So I've kind of started, moving to more of if you want to send a message, go to my message board at RhondaVincent.com. That way you can be sure it's 100%, it's me.
Perfect. Awesome. And another thing you mentioned was maybe writing a fishing themed song at some point. So maybe you could write a theme song for the Woman Angler and Adventure podcast. That would be awesome.
I will work on that. That's a great idea. I'm here with fishing, so certainly have the inspiration for that.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking some time to be on the show. And we'll encourage everybody to go to your Facebook page and also your website if they're interested in finding out what all you've got going on, especially with that mandolin webinar. That'd be super fun. So thank you.
Well, thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Take care. Blessings.
Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you really enjoyed this episode. And if you did, please share it with your friends. I love it when I see new people discovering the show for the first time. And now we've got a ton of episodes you can go back and check out and listen to. And I'll continue putting out new episodes every week. So subscribe on Apple Podcasts or whatever your favorite podcast platform is so you'll get notified. You won't miss any future episodes. And take a moment to leave a rating and review. That really goes a long way. So I appreciate it. Thanks again and see you next week.